You know, we spend something like 60% of our communication time just listening. But let me ask you this, how much are we really hearing? What if I told you the secret to better relationships, a better career, and just, well, a better understanding of the world wasn't about what you say, but all about how you listen? Today, we're going to break down this seriously overlooked superpower, the art of effective listening. Okay, take a look at this number. This is how much information the average person actually holds on to from a conversation. 25 to 50%. That means anywhere from half to, three-quarters of what's being said, it's just gone, vanished. Think about that for a second. This isn't just a tiny mistake, it is a massive communication gap, and it has some pretty huge consequences. So that leads to a really big question, doesn't it? If we're only catching a small piece of the conversation, what are we missing out on? I mean, what kind of opportunities, what connections, what brilliant ideas are just slipping right through our fingers, all because we hear the words, but we don't truly listen? We're going to call this the Great Communication Gap. And trust me, this isn't some abstract idea. It has real, tangible effects on our relationships, our jobs, and just our own personal growth. Let's dive into exactly why closing this gap is so important. When you look at it like this, it becomes really clear that listening isn't just about being polite. Nope, it's the very foundation of trust. It's what stops a small misunderstanding from blowing up into a huge conflict. On a team, it's the difference between talking at each other and actually collaborating. And honestly, it's the engine for growth, both for you as a person and in your career. All right, so how do we fix this? How do we bridge this gap? Well, it all starts with a really important shift in how we think. We have to stop seeing listening as this passive thing that just kind of happens to us. We need to start treating it like what it really is, an active, deliberate skill, one that you can learn and get really good at. And here it is, the core idea. The two words that really matter here are active and learned. It's not passive, and it's a skill you can totally build. It's a whole process, right? You're receiving information, you're interpreting it, you're evaluating it, and then you're responding. It's about being all in, not just letting sound waves bounce off your eardrums. Let's make this super clear. Over on the left, you've got passive hearing. Think of it like the TV droning on in the background or a conversation you're only half tuned into. But on the right, that's active listening. That is intentional, it takes your full engagement and a real desire to process and understand the message, not just hear the noise. You can actually break this whole process down into a 4-stage loop. First, you receive. And that's not just the words, it's the body language, the tone, all of it. Then your brain starts interpreting what it all means. Next, you evaluate it. Does this make sense? How do I feel about this? And finally, you respond, which shows the other person you are locked in. The problem is, most of us rush through this, but true mastery is about giving each stage the attention it deserves. Okay, so we've covered the what and the why. Now, let's get down to business with the how. It's time to open up the essential listening toolkit. These are the real-world techniques you can start using, like today. First things first, you gotta know that not all listening is created equal. The right way to listen completely depends on the situation. Are you in a meeting where you need to give active feedback? Or are you just trying to support a friend who's had a rough day? That calls for empathetic listening. Choosing the right tool for the job is really the first big step. So while the types might change, there are definitely some powerhouse techniques that work in almost any scenario. These are the fundamentals of being a great listener. Let's break them down. It all starts right here with the basics. First, pay full attention. That means putting the phone down, away. Seriously. Your body language also says a lot, so simple things like nodding or having an open posture show that you're tuned in. But maybe the hardest and most important one is to withhold judgment. You have to fight that urge to jump in or start planning your perfect comeback. Right now, your only job is to listen. Now for the more interactive stuff. Paraphrasing is an absolute game changer. Just saying something like, okay, so what I'm hearing is, confirms you get it. Next, ask open-ended questions, not simple yes or no ones, to really get them to open up. Every so often, it's a great idea to summarize the key points just to make sure you're both on the same page. And finally, sprinkle in some simple feedback like, I see, or uh-huh, to show you're still right there with them. Of course, even when you have the best intentions, this stuff isn't always easy. We all run into roadblocks that get in the way. But just recognizing these common listening barriers, that's the first step to tearing them down. These barriers usually fall into four main buckets. You've got your external barriers, the noisy world around you. Then there are the internal ones, which is basically all the chatter going on inside your own head. You also have physiological barriers, like just being exhausted. And finally, behavioral barriers. Those are the bad habits we've all picked up. Let's make this super real. An external barrier, that's the loud coffee shop you're in. An internal one, that's when you're already judging what they're saying before they even finish a sentence. Physiological could just be that you're super tired and can't focus. And behavioral, well, that's the classic multitasking while someone's talking to you. As I'm saying these, which ones sound a little too familiar? Now, here's the good news. None of these barriers are impossible to overcome. Just like any other skill, you can get better at listening with a little bit of conscious effort. So let's talk about what that path to mastery actually looks like. Here's your game plan in 3 simple steps. First, practice every single day. Just decide that one conversation each day is going to be your listening workout. Second, ask for feedback. Go to a coworker you trust and just ask, hey, in that meeting, did you feel like I was really hearing you? Their answer might be an eye-opener. And third, if you really want to level up, think about some formal training. This isn't about a quick fix. It's about building a skill that will serve you for life. And here we are, right back where we started, looking at this wild statistic. But now, after everything we've talked about, the frameworks, the techniques, the barriers, this number should feel different, right? It's not just a fact anymore, it's a call to action. It represents all the potential for connection and understanding that's just waiting for us to unlock it. So I'll leave you with this one question. Now that you have these tools, you've got a choice. In your next conversation, your next meeting, your next phone call, what will you choose to truly hear?